Doc Wilcox in the studio. It's a Dr. Wilcox Thursday along with the Dr. Amy Thursday. It's a good doctor day.
Aye.
So what's up? How you been?
I'm good. It's beautiful weather out there. Enjoying projects. I got a lot of yard projects. I'm constantly up to something, and I am my father's son.
I fixed the upstairs toilet the other day.
Yeah,
it was going.
And so it's nice. And my slaves, my children, are growing up and moving away. So the old man's got to do it himself. And enjoying, love the outdoors.
See, I like going out and trimming the yard and mowing the yard on the riding mower, because when you're on that riding mower, there's enough noise so that you can never hear anybody calling you.
Yeah.
Either on the phone or from the deck or anywhere.
Yeah.
Well, and I like that.
Yeah, it is. The satisfaction of cutting the grass is when it's high enough, you can go, wow, it's accomplishment.
Oh, and you can see it. Yeah. I hate doing something if you can't see what you've done.
Right.
So what's up?
Going to talk about some old stuff.
First of all, are we loosening up? What's happening in the office now that all COVID restrictions are loosening?
You're talking to the wrong guy. I never shut down for COVID.
Well, I know
that. Let's not talk about it. I have a different opinion on things. It's terrible stuff. Little overkill. The other body counts out there for what happened in this earth during that past, year and a half.
There are, yes.
Yeah. So, at any rate, let's have happy talk.
Okay. Happy talk.
Yes.
So, contact lenses. There's three things that are involved in the prescription of an eye, or the camera. The eyeball is a camera. It's either in focus or out of focus, and we're always trying to keep it in focus at every distance and plane, and we want it to be nice HD vision everywhere we look, but that's not how it works, because everyone's cameras are very, very few people's cameras are perfectly in focus everywhere. Okay. So there's always a little delta, a little offset that you have that can be minimal, and there's a lot of people who have a prescription and they don't wear it because it's just not that bad. But then the spectrum goes all the way to the other side where people can be blind, okay? So it's curves, lengths, and index of refraction. So you have curves on the front of your cornea, the back of your cornea, the front of the lens. Inside your eyeball, there's a lens. And just like inside of a camera, there's a lens. And that lens has curves and thicknesses. And the length of the eyeball, the front to the back of the camera, or from the cornea to the retina, there's a length involved there. And then the index of refraction has to do with the density, if you will, of the tissue. So if you have a diabetic, for instance, who was seeing 20/20, now they're seeing 20 poorly. It's
I like that.
Because let's just say it's just because they have a swollen lens, and so the lens curvature changes, and then it's swollen. So the effect it has on light going from the front to the back of the retina is different. So you need to go make an equal but opposite change in the front of their eye. You have to give them glasses, temporary glasses, or contact lenses. So let's switch back from the diabetic to just say anybody. So why do you need glasses and contact lenses? Well, it's either because you're nearsighted, you're farsighted, or you have astigmatism. And astigmatism is a funny word that people usually misspell, so it's got to be bad. And all it is a difference at 90 degrees usually on the cornea of the curvatures. And so one area of the cornea focuses at one point and the other area focuses at another point. And the difference between those two focal points is the amount of astigmatism you have. And then you have your bifocal needs, or I'm older and need some reading help. So now that's another variable. And then I have a funny shape to my cornea. I have a funny shape because I have a corneal disease. Keratoconus is a common one, where you get this little kind of an outpooching on the cornea, and it causes all this noise in the focus of the light, and it causes lots of problems. You can have corneal scars. You got an injury to your eye somehow. Corneal transplants. Somehow you had an ulcer, an infection, and you needed a transplant. transplant. Now you have this funny juncture there, and the light gets all boogered up trying to get to the back of the eye. So what do we do from that normal, I'm just a 10-year-old nearsighted kid, to I have this very irregular cornea? Well, you have to put something in front of the eye, on the cornea, that negates that. And so simply, you can have a soft contact lens. It's kind of like if you had a piece of saran wrap and you wrapped it over top of I've got my fist in the air here.
Right.
And if you put saran wrap over my fist, you would still kind of see the knuckles and whatnot because it would drape over that. And then you have a lens that will correct the astigmatism, which is like you now take the saran wrap and you put it over the fist, and then you can drape some other saran wrap in the other direction, and you go, okay, I can see there's two different curvatures there. And then you have a rigid gas permeable lens. So imagine my fist here, and if I put a dinner plate over top of it, well, it's going to look nothing like a fist anymore, and it's going to look like the dinner plate. So the gas perm lens, which is rigid, has structure, negates any of the funny optics from curvature issues on the cornea. So all the people with complicated prescriptions, I've got a lot of astigmatism. I have a corneal disease. It's better to usually have a gas perm lens on the eye to negate those funny curvatures. And so then the historic old gas perm lenses were like rocks in your eyes back in the day, and they were made out of hard things for the people who wore them back in
and
the...
you could only wear them so many hours.
Yeah, but those days are well gone, because what we do now is we make scleral lenses. You can make a contact lens that now, instead of fitting just on the clear part of the eye, the cornea, it actually rests on the white of the eye. So it vaults the whole cornea, which is great because all your optics are on the front surface of that rigid material, and then you have an offset from the cornea, of which there's some saline there, and now you can get rid of any of the boogered up cornea problems that are causing problems. Now, on the front surface of that
do glasses do the same thing?
Yes and no. No, because glasses will focus light, nearsighted, farsighted astigmatism, but they're not going to get rid of a funny shaped cornea, because you have, between the back of your eyeglass and your eyeball is air. And so the light that you changed that went from the front of the eyeglass prescription in your eyeglasses, and after it comes out of the back of the lens, still has to go through air and hit your funny shaped cornea, which boogers up everything.
Okay.
If you have a boogered up cornea, okay, and lots of names for that. And so now what you can do on top of that is, 20 years ago or so, I bought into this system of designing contact lenses from a fingerprint of your cornea. So you get this mapping of the cornea, and you can I sit there on the computer and I make a 1-for-1 lens. I design like an architect designs a building from a topography. I design a contact lens from the cornea up. And that works great for lenses that rest only on the cornea, to lenses that I want to make bigger. And kind of as my life goes, back in the day when we bought into this system, there was a great, brilliant, wonderful optometrist engineer who came up with this, but couldn't teach anybody. And so I was part of this group, and I'm still part of this group of guys. We all went to an initial meeting together, and yours truly pointed his finger at these 4 or 5 guys at a break in the meeting and said, you come here, let's go figure this out together. And we created this little band of brothers who've been together ever since, and we figured out the software, and I created some DVDs and instructed people how to do it. And
So are there a lot of people doing this?
There was almost none to begin with, and the number's growing like anything else. They have a very good program. And so this CAD CAM, computer assisted designing and manufacturing, you get a fingerprint of the cornea, you can now know how irregular it is, and you can design a contact lens from that on up. And that's the software is called Wave software. So I use it for making regular gas perm lenses. I use it for doing the corneal molding that we're in the nighttime wearing of contact lenses. So you can take them off in the morning and you don't need glasses or contacts. lights all day long, and it keeps children from getting more nearsighted. And then the beauty of that is the alternative is to go to a shoebox full of these lenses that are organized and start putting on a person's eyeball until you made it up and match it up, versus I'm going to make it from the topography of your cornea. And we get kind of, not one and done, but people don't appreciate how lucky they are to have it done that way, because it's a tailor-made suit instead of off the rack. So there's ways to these topographers, these instruments we use to map out the cornea are now getting broader. They're instead of being just like 6 or 8 millimeters that they're mapping out, now they're mapping out 17 millimeters. And so the ability to make to solve people's vision problems that are significant to average, severe to I'm just a water polo player and I can't wear glasses and I want to put a scleral lens in my eye, and you can do those things. So the spectrum goes far and wide. It goes left and right, but it's just great to do these things.
Down to the bottom line.
Yes.
I have a hang-up on putting a contact lens on my eye.
Okay.
I've never tried it, and I just cringe at the idea of it.
Then don't wear them.
But how do you get somebody over that?
Okay, well, so if your question is you want to hurdle that, well, I have great staff. We're great at what we do, and we have the patience of Job as needed, and the strength of Samson when you have to I'm telling you, open up your eye.
Hold you down, pry it open.
So, but I can't tell you the number of times we've taken people with that attitude or aversion, because some people got hurt when they're a kid in their eyes and they squint a lot. Some people just can't do it, and then you can't. And then there's a lot of people you can spend the time with. If you're motivated, we're here for you.
Now, what about the old contact lenses, the hard ones, and even the smaller ones, I would guess?
They're still
have a tendency to move in the eye and go to different places.
Sure. Well, that's why we don't do those things largely anymore, but it's perfectly fine to do it when it's appropriate to do it. It's you're fighting a war, and you got hand grenades and knives and rifles and tanks, and you need toilet paper and everything else to fight this war. So there's no tool is ever totally regulated or dismissed, but largely we got away from a lot of those things because they carried some of those comfort and movement issues, and back then you just had a sphero-cylindrical lathe. You have a lathe that can only make circles and footballs. It can only make soccer balls and footballs. It can only make 2 curves. And now you can do whatever you want if you have the tools and technology to do it. But very, very few doctors do this stuff because you got to go back to school. You got to study. You got to go understand it. You got to go roll up your sleeves, and instead of watching Netflix, you're going to spend your evening watching some videos and learning how to use these new tools. And they're not new tools for the people who've been using them a while, but every day there's something new coming out.
How is it that the actual it has actually changed to the point that you had a contact that could only leave in for 8 hours? If you fell asleep with it on, God help you. To the point now that don't you have 30-day contacts?
Well, and those aren't wise. Okay, I'm not an extended wear contact fan. Because you increase the risk of morbidity or disease. Now, it's perfectly fine to do, but in my office, you're not going to see me promoting it. And they do make lenses that way. And remember, drug companies want customers. They don't want cures. And contact lens company want customers, and they'll give you whatever they want. You got to be careful. Just because they say you can do it doesn't mean it's wise.
Okay.
And if you're asking about these things, what comes to mind is, look at the artificial limbs they have now for people that do all these amazing things, and it used to be a peg leg, right? So things change, and there's still people out there selling peg legs, and there's people out there giving these bionic armatures for people, and thank God they can, and they do. So you get to go research if you want to go to the person who uses only peg legs for eye care, or somebody wants to use fancier stuff. And you might drive 10 minutes from office or 10 hours up to Boston or something like that.
Okay.
But you don't have to. There's a lot of these niche doctors all around who specialize in these different aspects of providing vision for people with typical and atypical measures.
Well, it just seemed like it came such a long way, but to know that, I think, is worth more than having it.
Well, okay, so we have in the country, we have millions of people who both get in contact lenses for the first time and leave contact lenses. And the reason they're leaving contact lenses is numerous, but it's because they have a dry eye condition that's not being addressed. They have I need a bifocal and I'm farsighted with astigmatism and an axis, and it's complicated and their doctor doesn't know how. Or blame it on whatever. Okay, the doctor, the patient, whatever tools in your tool chest. So we're able to get people back into contact lenses when appropriate, when proper,
right,
and motivated, and because we have more tools in our tool chest, and there's a lot of players out there. I'm not the only guy. I'm just a guy on the radio right now talking about it. But computer-assisted designing and manufacturing contact lenses is far superior than I've got some here in the box on the wall. And there's nothing wrong with the box on the wall, because that's the number one thing we do in our office. You come in, you're a new patient, you walk out with contacts that day, okay? But then you have to think about the other ends of the bell curve who need more care because they have different needs.
He hit it on the button there, and that is that, and we say it all the time just so people know, because you have you come in here and oftentimes talk about things that just leave me in awe. Because you sit here thinking, how does anybody on the face of this earth know this stuff? And you find it. But at the Wilcox Eye Center, you can get glasses. Mm-hmm. You can get regular contacts. Like Doc said, you can come in and walk out with contacts. Mm-hmm. But all of this is available, and it is not something that is pushed on you. There are options that are given to you. You're interested in the options, that's great. If you're not, that's fine. Either way, you're going to get the best service that you can get anywhere with Doc and his staff down there.
Thank you for the kind words.
Well, I mean, it's not many people, especially in this day and age, that has staff members that have been with you as much as yours have, mm-hmm. ones that have left and found out that other places don't do what you do and don't satisfy people the way you do, and come back. That's not everyday happenings.
I just had a wonderful thing happen last night on the car ride, I got a message from a previous employee who now is a realtor, just got a realtor license,
Leah.
and she's and she just was commenting on the mentor that I was to her in the early days. And her life has moved on. She's moved out of town. She's on the other side of the river, and it's just so nice to hear these things, because we've had 60-some employees over 30-some years, some lasting decades and some lasting moments, and it's nice to know that there is it's appreciation for what I try to do with people is to try to bring the best out of them, and so we can deliver the best to our patients. But and that culture goes on throughout the practice.
All right, we will see you on July the 8th.
July the 8th, I'll be here.
All right. Dr. Wilcox, everybody. Wilcox Eye Center is down at the Point. And again, it can be as simple as you want, or he can take care of you and offer you options in so many ways. Believing, again, what you really didn't get into today, that the whole body is affected by the eye, and the eye is affected by the whole body.
Amen, brother. 40% of your brain.
Do you like how I said that?
Yeah, congratulations. And your hand is connected to your arm, right?
Yes.
And your eyes are part of your brain. And it's all linked together. Sick eyes and a sick body, and a sick body or sick eyes. And you just need to know the roadmap. And thank you for the trust.
All right. See you July 8th.
Mm-hmm. Bye-bye.
It's 7:26.